Widely renowned as the best bounty hunter since Django lost his head, Cad Bane has a particular degree of notoriety due to the manner of his involvement during the Clone Wars. He worked for the Confederacy, for the Hutts, and for mysterious Sith Lords alike, with few limits to speak of and concern for nothing save himself. Bane is generally seen as an amoral character, more so than some other, more notorious bounty hunters, and for obvious reasons. But though he wasn't nearly as honorable as the Fets were, for example, Cad Bane wasn't completely amoral, and indeed, he was a rather complex character. In this video, we'll be exploring the true depth of the most infamous child of Duro.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
This video is brought to you by Squarespace, and if you need a foolproof platform for creating your own website, then Squarespace is the platform for you. In Star Wars The Clone Wars, the character of Cad Bane seems pretty consistent. He's a brutal, skilled bounty hunter with no concept of empathy or altruism. But there's one moment in the show in particular that seems to break this mold, which many of you likely remember. During the Rako Hardeen arc in Season 4, Bane saves a disguised Obi-Wan Kenobi's life in the box when Morala Uval tried to kill him out of spite. Bane had no reason to do this. Kenobi, even while disguised as Hardeen, was a competitor after all, and yet he did so anyway, because he respected him and because Uval had cheated. To understand this moment, we need to more fully understand Cad Bane, and to do that, we need to take a quick look into his life. He grew up on New Tiana, one of the poorer of Duro's space cities, where he began his career as a hunter by tracking down petty criminals. As soon as he had enough money to leave, he did so, swearing never to return, and set out to become a galactic-level hunter. On an early mission, he was hired to protect a client from an alleged Jedi, only to discover that the Jedi was actually using technology to imitate Force powers. After defeating this assassin, Bane spared his life in exchange for the secrets of his technology, which he used to great effect in the years leading up to the Clone Wars. Bane's arsenal, which included rocket boots, breathing tubes hooked up to his windpipe, explosives, and all sorts of gadgets built into his gauntlets, allowed him to hunt down anyone, even Jedi. This gave him quite the reputation and attracted the attention of the Bounty Hunters Guild, which he refused to join. This brought him into conflict with the guild when he refused to refrain from taking bounties posted by them, leading him into a skirmish with Kradosk, the father of Bosk and the leader of the guild. Bane defeated Kradosk, but yet again he spared him, this time for so-called professional reasons. By 21 BBY, Bane had grown quite notorious, leading Darth Sidious to choose him to fulfill a series of missions intended to hurt the Jedi Order itself. Bane took these missions without hesitation, despite the risk to himself, and though his missions weren't entirely successful, they were nonetheless sufficient to boost him from notoriety to the status of a living legend. During his time under Sidious, Bane expressed levels of skill, intelligence, and ruthlessness that were rarely seen in bounty hunters, giving him a long list of potential clients to choose from. Perhaps one of the best terms to describe Cad Bane is adaptable. He had the rare skill of being able to work with a variety of circumstances and change his plans as those circumstances changed. The Sidious missions showed this well, and he was able to adapt his plans repeatedly during the Battle of Deveron, and he took advantage of Clone Trooper Denal's armor to escape his flagship, a bit of quick thinking that few others would have been able to come up with in time. But the Sidious missions emphasized something else about his character, which you might have missed while watching the episodes. Bane, outwardly, is all about the credits. His standard rate is known to be high, and he makes clear that he'll do anything to get paid if the price is right several times. But despite this, Bane doesn't seem to be all that focused on collecting a high price during his missions for Sidious. Sure, he demands quite a lot, but he does it in a bit of a passive, lazy manner, as you recall, and they generally fade out of focus during that episode arc. One would think that, considering how dangerous these missions would be for Bane, that the big payday at the end of it all would be his focus. Instead, considering that this is Cad Bane's first chronological appearance in the show, it can be inferred that he's doing these hard tasks for another reason as well, to prove to the galaxy that he's the best and to be recognized for it. Keep that in mind for later. Frequently, Bane worked for the Hutts, most notably during his bid to free Zero the Hutt from Republic custody, as well as for the Confederacy of Independent Systems, which generally didn't care about the records of its agents. But one mission in the latter category is notable in particular: his participation in the plot to kidnap Supreme Chancellor Palpatine at the Festival of Light on Naboo. This is notable because Bane seemed way too invested in that mission than credits alone would dictate. After all, even before he was being paid to lead a team, Bane came up first with the plan and then with several backup plans to get Moralo Ival to Sereno, and he led Ival and who he believed to be Rako Hardin through it. It's a fair assumption that this was because he and Ival were going to the same place in the same manner and that he was concerned about getting himself to Sereno as well. But this just begs another question. Why was he so dead set on competing in the box? Well, for the same reason that he took Sidious's seemingly suicidal missions. He wanted to prove that he was the best of the best. After the contest in the box, Count Dooku made Bane the leader of his team of bounty hunters, which isn't the first time that Bane was put in charge of a team. Previously, he had operated with 2 others when breaking into the Jedi Temple under Darth Sidious. And most notably, he assembled a pretty large team of bounty hunters for his assault on the Senate building. Furthermore, as far as leadership skills go, he was pretty great, despite his repeated insistence that he worked best solo. This sort of inherent personality conflict was a very good detail on the part of the writers. Seemingly paradoxical attributes are what makes humans human, and this just serves to make his character more effective. But digressions aside, it does say something important about Bane's character. Alongside splitting credits, Bane's stated reason for not taking partners was that they slowed him down, usually due to lack of skill. It's no coincidence that the teams Bane worked with were all composed from the best of the best. It can be inferred that, in reality, Bane had no problem splitting credits with accomplices that were skilled on a comparable level to himself. Write that one down too. With all that said, we can finally take a crack at why Bane spared Obi-Wan Kenobi in the box. You might have noticed earlier, especially during Bane's early life, that Cad Bane actually spared people rather frequently, more so than many more principled bounty hunters. He spared the man that imitated a Jedi during an early mission after defeating him, he spared Kradosk despite the notoriety that he could have gained from killing the man, and he spared quite a few others in lesser known stories that aren't as worth diving into. And yes, there's a pattern to be observed here. Earlier, we said that Cad Bane was an amoral character, but this isn't entirely the case. Bane's morals were certainly a whole lot more lax than any respectable sentient being, and he showed no qualms with killing unarmed innocents or his prisoners. But he did have his own twisted sense of morality. It was simply different than what decent people would consider morality. Bane's ruthlessness was most frequently expressed towards innocents, those that were unarmed or easily defeated. But he didn't display the same sense of ruthlessness toward others, and for one key reason, he considered them skilled enough to earn his respect. For Cad Bane, skill was what dictated the value of a being. This is why he took on missions that posed a greater risk to him. He wanted to prove that he was the most skilled bounty hunter in the galaxy, the best of the best, because that was what meant most to him. Skill is the key to Bane's character. It was the only thing he truly respected, and at heart, it was what he was out to prove that he had. This is pure speculation on our part, don't get us wrong, but it's entirely possible that Bane's devotion to credits was because they served as a tangible indicator of his skill. It's no coincidence that Bane's respect for the disguised Obi-Wan Kenobi started to grow only when Kenobi began to provide useful skills to help him and Ival. And it's no coincidence that Bane saved Kenobi right after Kenobi had proven that he was among the most skilled snipers in the galaxy. It's also no coincidence that Bane made an attack on Moralo Ival's honor after the attempt to kill Kenobi, as Bane clearly considered Kenobi to be vastly more skilled than Ival. He saved Kenobi because he respected him, and he respected him because he believed that he was capable of incredible things, just as he himself strived to be. Now guys, just a little bit more about Squarespace. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform that provides you everything you need to create a magnificent website. It's got a variety of templates to make it look professional and a variety of other tools that just make everything so much easier. And as I stated before in the intro, you need no web design experience whatsoever. You can pretty much just start it up, use the tools at your disposal, and create an amazing website integrated with everything you need. So with that said, head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Geetsly to save 10% off your first purchase. So that's our analysis of Cad Bane, one of the Clone Wars' best characters. But what do you guys think? Have you pieced this together for yourself before, or does this shed a whole new light on the character for you? Feel free to post your thoughts in the comments section below. And just before you go guys, please make sure you check out all the links in the description below. For any history buffs, anybody interested in history at all, I do have my second history channel that's popping off right now, so make sure you go check that out, because from my experience, a lot of Star Wars fans are actually fans of history as well, so go figure. And also don't forget our other links, including all of our Discord links where you can chat to other Star Wars fans, and our Gmod and Roblox links where you can actually play games with other Star Wars fans under our Geetsly's gaming network. Anyways guys, as always, thank you so much for watching.